Yo, what's poppin'?
Whoa. You did tell me to adjust that. Here, let me put my screen down. I want them to see the rocking that Illmatic, bro.
Illmatic, huh?
What's good, man?
Chillin', man. What's good? Been a minute.
It's been a minute, bro.
Miss you, dog.
Likewise, man. Likewise. And man, as you could see, it's been a while since all four of us have been together.
Oh, it's been a real minute since all four of us.
It might be a little longer. Huh?
Yeah, it's gonna take some time to get all four of us together. It's crazy how life works out.
I think first and foremost, though, wait, are we allowed to share? We're not. Yes, we're allowed to share.
Yeah, I think so.
So, right? Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Ricks.
Huge congrats.
Ricks
Welcome to the
Monica.
brotherhood.
Welcome to parenthood. Baby Ellie Ricky is here. We are so happy for you, so ecstatic.
Yes, man. We've already talked about how life-changing it's going to be for you. You already know. I'm sure you're experiencing that today, and it's just the beginning, baby.
That's right.
Nothing better than becoming a parent, let me tell you.
That's right, bro. Well, congratulations, man. We cannot wait to meet her for sure. But damn, so I think we got, we're gonna set it off by kind of sharing a little bit of an announcement, right? So we're actually about to go on a hiatus. So this is going to be the last episode for probably at least a few weeks. I'd say until at least after the new year.
Yes, sir.
I think we alluded to many of the changes that have been going on in our lives. But I think it's it's that time of year too. Where it's a good time to step away, recharge, reinvigorate, and get ready for next year. And then on top of that, we got some crazy ass jobs this time of year.
Yeah, man, definitely. It picks up definitely in the jobs that we're in, but I think all four of us just had some major change in the last, 90 days now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going on almost 4 months already.
Bro. Oh, wow. Okay.
4 months. You're probably what, like
2.5 months? Yeah. And then Jesse's probably what? 2 weeks officially.
2 weeks down in San Diego.
And San Diego
was good, bro.
And then Rick's is about a day in, a real day officially.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll take a few weeks to like we said, recharge, focus on our respective careers and parenthood. And then when we're back, we may be on live on a different night of the week. So we're gonna align on that and let you know. But yeah, man, gotta start off with that. It's kind of crazy.
No, it is. And we also just kind of want to see how we could reinvigorate the show. Bring some new ideas and energy to it. So by having that downtime, I think we get time to get together, collaborate, and see what phase 2 is for us, so to speak.
Bro, I never really realized you could make yourself at home.
Yeah, you can fall asleep right here with this nice little comfort.
Damn, we forgot to make the drink.
We didn't have time for that. It's all good.
No, we will, man. We will. Oh man, so that's what's up. So I think should we well, we didn't actually write something down for the synopsis, so I think we got to start with our best Jesse impression. On the count of 3, bro. 1, 2, 3.
Dímelo, mi gente.
We are live on Brown Wealth Radio. This is episode 35. Is that right?
It is 35, but I didn't even know what to name it, to be honest.
I think it's called BSV Do Not Delete.
No, that's not the name of the episode. That's just the name of our banner.
Oh, reinvent. I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah,
reinvent. Oh man. But we got we have a great show lined up for you. It'll be me and Credit Chris live here in the building. As we said, Rick's and Jesse tending some other very, very important matters in their life.
Mm-hmm.
But this week, we got the What's the 411, got a lot of news that's been happening this past week. I'm sure you've already heard a little bit about this meltdown that's been happening in crypto, some interesting stories that we'll talk about, as well as some other things going on in the world. As always, we'll cover the market, and just like any other week, it's been pretty volatile in the market. So we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll go into earnings, a few companies we might discuss. We're definitely going to get to Walmart. We're definitely going to get to Nvidia, maybe a couple other ones that reported out there. Then after that, we're going to last week, I believe we were supposed to get to relocating in your career. But Chris and Rick's ran out of time on that one because they got deep into thought on every other conversation. That was a good episode, by the way. That was a good
episode. Appreciate that.
I like that abrupt ending. That was like the most on-time ending we've ever had.
Rick's cheated. It was Rick's, the principal. Yeah. Wants to keep us on pace, I guess.
And then we're gonna talk about what you should buy your friends' kids for their birthdays or Christmas. We're not going to talk about what you should, but we're going to just have a conversation about that because
it's
we brought up, somebody brought up some really good points that are worth considering, and we'll talk about what we do. And what do we got this week for the credit set for credit rules, everything around them?
Well, I mean, just continue to talk about the whole notion of going cashless. There's actually companies that refuse to take cash, and it's actually illegal, which I've learned to do that, but they don't care. They don't want to deal with the cash, and just kind of going back to the implications of
It's
what
illegal.
that
Wow,
does
okay.
in the state of New York.
Oh, okay.
There's a business, yeah. That's
Damn.
how I came across the information.
Well, we have a lot of information, so hopefully we'll be able to get to it all in an hour because now it's like an hour right on the dot. At least last week anyway. But if not, we'll have some content for when we come back in the air next year. So let's go ahead and get into the disclaimer. Who's going to do the disclaimer?
That's all you, Rennie. You've been missing out. So it's all you.
All right, Ricks. All right, Ricks. Let's see if I learned a thing or two from you. All right. So please do not forget that our content is intended to be used and must be used for educational and informational purposes only. It is very important to do your own research, aka do your homework, before making any investment decisions, and they should be based on your own personal circumstances. Investing has inherent risks, and past performance does not guarantee future results. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it. So what's the 411? Damn, we'll come back with the clips, right?
What's the 411?
Hey, yo, what's the 411? All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So first, we actually got a couple of, news related to this, the news in crypto. But I think first and foremost, we obviously talk amongst ourselves, right? Like, we're very interested in what's going on in the financial world. But this is one that's kind of transcended those conversations. I'm sure you've just had random conversations with people about it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, probably a lot of the same people who were riding the wave up, supposedly, right?
No, of course. It's pretty crazy. And then you also have those that have been anti crypto.
They're celebrating.
And anytime this comes out, where all my crypto people out? Shout out Mo the broker. So you have both sides of the spectrum, those that are devastated by it, and then those that are kind of rooting for it because they don't believe in it or they're not gaining from it. So, they don't want others to win, and it shouldn't be like that.
Well, with that said, though, I mean, let's share some of this because it's some very interesting info, and for better or worse, it kind of does cast a very much of a black eye.
It really does.
So, bankrupt crypto exchange FTX may have over 1 million, not dollars, but creditors, as dozens of regulators probe the collapse. So sorry, let me see this. All right. So FTX has been in contact with dozens of regulators around the world, according to court documents, underlining the far-reaching impact from the stunning collapse of the industry's biggest players. The new bankruptcy court filings also offer new details into the liquidity crisis that caused FTX to implode and called out the role of Sam Bankman-Fried, the exchange's 30-year-old founder and one of the faces of the crypto industry. In filings dated Monday, FTX's lawyers say there is substantial interest in these events from regulatory authorities around the world. That's not $1 million. That's a million
creditors.
So I've been as I've looked into this, people have put this on par with everything that happened in 08. We're talking about Sam Bankman-Fried potentially being
the crypto Bernie Madoff.
But yeah, worse.
No, worse because it's on a grander scale.
Yeah, and plus he's trying to still come off benevolent. So I don't.
That's a good way to describe it for sure.
He's all on Twitter, basically dumbfounded that this could possibly happen, and meanwhile you're bro, you have $1 billion crypto exchange that people trusted their livelihoods with.
Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable, and I mean, whether he's benevolent or acting naive, you know what I mean? It's just hard to believe. Sometimes people lie so much, they start believing it themselves. And I don't know if that's the case, but, then you start learning more about this man. He supposedly grew up on the Stanford campus, right? And this genius. Right. But then when you start peeling the onion back, is he really?
I mean, well, is he a genius or not? I don't know. But one interesting thing is that, if you told me that this guy owned FTX at the top and then you showed me his picture, I would absolutely not believe it. So then, secondly, the fact that he actually like pulled this whole scam off and is still doing that is just very. It defies like it makes it feel surreal.
Yeah.
Because seriously, like, wouldn't you expect to see some like polished villain looking type of like dude from
Yeah.
like, a James Bond movie or
Yeah.
something? And then you find out that that's the bad guy that did all this. It's almost disappointing.
Well, yeah, he looks like a guy that's been in his mom's basement, you know,
Yeah.
playing trading cards or something like that, you know.
Well, that's him, right? So now let's think about some of the other people that were associated with FTX. So FTX's Bankman-Fried, obviously, Tom Brady, another celebrity promoter sued by crypto investors. So they sued the founder and several celebrities who promoted his exchange, including NFL quarterback Tom Brady and comedian Larry David, claiming they engaged in deceptive practices to sell FTX yield-bearing digital currency accounts. The proposed class action filed on Tuesday night in Miami alleges that FTX yield-bearing accounts were unregistered securities that were unlawfully sold in the United States. At least $1 billion in client funds are missing, sources have told Reuters. When the crypto exchange faltered on liquidity concerns, U.S. investors sustained $11 billion in damages, the lawsuit says. The lawsuit seeks damages from Bankman-Fried and 11 athletes and other celebrities who promoted FTX, including David, the creator of Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm, Brady, tennis star Naomi Osaka, and the professional basketball team, the Golden State Warriors, are also defendants in the lawsuit.
And I mean, it's wild because, you know, there's been so many different crypto tokens and everything. But if you would have asked me 3 months ago, you know, my friends who are really into crypto, I thought this was one of the legit ones. You know, I thought this was one of the safe ones.
They were the second or third biggest, Binance and Coinbase.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And for this to happen, it's like, you know, I'm not like all in on crypto personally. I do think there's a place for it. I do see the future of it. I respect those that do believe in it. You know, it's to their prerogative. But this kind of scares me with all crypto now.
Well, okay. So that's a good question because a good point you bring up, I should say, because from my perspective, I think you know this, like even when we would chat, right? Like I always looked at, you know, Bitcoin and Ethereum as like the ones I would look at.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And then everything else to me was kind of like more of a trade. You know, with that said, I think one of the things that's coming out of this, and somebody tweeted something to this effect about how, you know, they don't trust any of the figureheads of each of these respective coins and how it really separates Bitcoin from everything else. So if you start looking at the charts and you start looking at the numbers and all that, you will see that, I mean, granted, Bitcoin is still obviously significantly down from the highs, but it's not that different than say some of these growth stocks that are down too. Whereas most of the other tokens are down like
tremendously.
Stupid money.
Yeah.
So this may be a little bit of an inflection point where maybe Bitcoin does kind of go on its own path, and some of these other coins, you know, maybe it's a little different. So to that extent, I think it is worth calling that out, that they have you know, they have some relative strength in that sector.
Yeah, and as actually Binance was the one bailing them out, right?
Yeah, I believe
or
so.
attempting to, but it's because
well, then they backed out once they looked at the info.
Yeah, but Binance is the one that started the downfall because they realized what was going on and they pulled their money out first.
Yeah, and then I think on top of that, I think the founder like tweeted some shit about FTX.
Well, yeah, he was saying, you know, he was trying to let people know in code, so to speak. But sorry about that, Rix. We didn't see you in the chat.
Click on the thing so you can see it come up right there.
It's right here.
Yeah, but so it'll come up on the video. I think if you show, there you go. So we got Rix in the house. You're okay to say
he's delayed.
I'm delayed. Oh, okay. My bad. And then Ellie, Monica, and I are in the building, listening as a little one is being fed.
Nice, already feeding together, man.
What a dad! And congratulations, Monica.
Yes, congratulations, Monica. You're the real MVP.
We're so happy for y'all.
Rick's just lucky to be there.
Well, so one more on this crypto thing, because this is interesting. Very interesting.
No, I definitely agree.
Elizabeth Warren wants to pass a major crypto bill. Sherrod Brown says not so fast. So the crypto meltdown triggered by digital currency exchange FTX is spurring bipartisan calls for legislations to set rules for the industry. But at least one powerful lawmaker is urging caution. Senate Banking Chair Sherrod Brown, Democrat out of Ohio, an outspoken crypto critic, said Tuesday that he's eyeing a hearing on the FTX debacle and has been in touch with the Securities and Exchange Commission about the meltdown. You've got a whole political party here that is always in the pockets of the big financial companies, regardless of whether it's a crypto company or whether it's JP Morgan Chase, he said, dinging Republicans. So it's always hard to legislatively do anything. That's why we rely on regulators so often. So his cautious approach to crypto legislation in the face of growing demands for a bill underscores how difficult it will be for Congress to come together on a plan, even in the face of a crisis that is highlighting weaknesses in regulation. This is where I thought it got really interesting. When asked whether former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried helped write the bill, another senator said in an interview that, quote, "We took input from everybody involved who was interested in having a transparent system that provides accountability and regulation. So certainly we took his input."
Wow.
So so basically the dude
who built the Ponzi scheme
exactly has some
influence,
significant influence,
yeah,
to assume, onto the legislation that they're not going to use to pass in response to that.
Yeah, it kind of don't make sense. And what's crazy is you're trying to drive regulation on what you really don't know. You know what I mean? Like, so many people are new to crypto. The government definitely, the people in government definitely don't know what's going on. I respect the mindset of having to have some regulation. I mean, what was that number of how much was lost? How many billions?
Oh, I don't know how much it is total. I know that their valuation went from, I don't know, like 100 billion or something to zero.
But to your point, how many innocent people?
Oh, that was what, 100 million? What
Was it 100 million? No, more than
1
that.
million.
No, there was 1 million creditors.
Yeah, creditors. Yeah.
But I mean,
So
think about how much millions were lost by people, you know, and some people really went all in. Literally, I have my neighbor who literally has continued to take money out of his 401k and put it in a crypto Roth. And so when this happened, I like, well, hey, you see what's going on? I'm just gonna do more.
but here's the thing, though. So, I mean, I think it's rough, especially in the near term, and I'm not very confident in the long term, like overall crypto. But there are going to be some coins that are going to make it. So I don't know what his mix is like, but you never know. Maybe 20, 30 years from now, it's not going to be a big deal. You know?
That's true. That is true, because I think people trying to look at crypto as I'm going to get rich from yesterday today, and that did happen at one point with Bitcoin. It did happen potentially with Ethereum, but that's a few and far between. Like, that's not going to continue to happen every year, year over year, year over year.
Yeah. And Bitcoin has already crashed this percentage significant amount of times and always come up higher. Now, will that happen again? You know, it's obviously in this environment, maybe not, but at some point.
Well, if Matt was here, you know, he would come with the theory of the every 4 years it starts having halves and halves. And
there's some meat to that. So
there is.
Well, so Twitter chaos spills into public view as Musk clashes with and fires employees on the platform. So Musk on Monday got into a dispute with software engineer Eric Fraunhofer on Twitter that ended with the billionaire tweeting, "He's fired," and Fraunhofer confirming he'd lost access to Twitter's internal systems. The public termination came after Fraunhofer tweeted evidence suggesting that Musk was wrong about his claims that Twitter was running, in the billionaire's words, super slow in various countries. He also told CNN Monday night that he found out about the firing when a friend sent him Musk's tweet and said that no one even reached out to me from Twitter. He added that he had been willing to give it a try under Musk and described himself as in the wait and see camp, but that everything that has been reported is true. He described working for Musk as a total shit show and the current state of affairs as pure chaos. What do you think, man?
Man, it's crazy because every week we come here, there's something about Musk and Twitter, and I'm a big fan of Elon Musk in terms of, you know, the innovation he's created, where his mind is. Now, the way in which he goes about things, yeah, I mean, would I really want to be working at Twitter right now? Yeah, you know, from what you're hearing, like you thought it was just sensationalism, but it continues to come out, and getting fired on Twitter publicly. I mean, I wouldn't be going talking to my CEO on Twitter,
well,
but
that's what I was gonna say. I mean, but you're right. So he did share that at some point in the very near future, he plans on having somebody else run Twitter, because at the end of the day, I think he bought, what did he buy the company for like
44 billion,
and now his main company has lost way more than that in market valuation, and it wasn't great timing because the market has pulled back.
Yeah,
but then on top of that, he was selling stock to buy Twitter, you know, et cetera. So here, like, I do agree. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, he's an asshole. Like, it is what it is. Yeah. You know, I mean, is he a brilliant one? I personally think so. Is he right now so probably chewing off more than he should be? Absolutely.
But when you're one of the richest men in the world, I think you can do that.
He can do whatever he wants.
Exactly thing, right? My point. And right, Ricks? We go back to last week's episode.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I think here there's some lessons to be learned, though, too. I think one, you know, if you're willing to battle your CEO on the same platform for the company that you both work for, you know, if you didn't think it was right or whatever, then, you know, something's off, because you probably should have just left. And then secondly, like, at the end of the day, well, I do believe that people should be able to express their thoughts freely. I want to produce an environment where anybody feels like they could speak their mind. But at the same time, like you have to like know how to draw the line. Like you can't go on a public forum, criticize your CEO in the open and not expect there to be some kind of backlash
on the
even.
public forum that he owns. I mean, to me, it kind of goes back to that one saying, you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Elon owns Twitter. Twitter's feeding you, paying your check.
Does that justify his response? Of course not. But let's not pretend like there aren't a ton of other people out there running businesses that would have had a similar reaction. Just maybe
True. And I
wouldn't
mean,
announce it.
if he fired him behind closed doors, I don't think it makes it any better. So the fact that he did it up front, so what? He did it.
So I got one more, and I'm not gonna mention the specifics of it, right? So that we can actually have a free flowing conversation. But there was a big organization that shared that that organized retail crime has driven $400 million in extra profit loss this year, and that's potentially going to expand up to $600 million for the full year. So without discussing specifics, I just thought that was very interesting information to discuss because one, I mean, like the gravity of it is a lot to think about, but secondly, it says a lot about what's going on out there in the real world.
No, 100%. Like theft is a real thing.
Yeah.
And there's always been theft. Don't get me wrong. I think there is in certain areas legislation has changed the rules of how that's policed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And or lack thereof police. Just take LA for example. For those of you who don't know, there's a dollar amount that if you still under that, they'll put you in handcuffs. They'll write a quick report, drive you to the police station, and let you out in less than 24 hours. And you're free to do it again. And you can do it multiple times and multiple times. And I mean, I'm sure the city has their rationale and reasons as to why they do it, but that just gives people more of a reason to go do it. If there's not a punishment for the crime that I'm doing,
Well, yeah, and one interesting connection I made too. I remember a few months ago having a conversation with a random family friend who didn't know what I did for a living at the time, and started sharing how he was checking out of this establishment, went through the self-checkout and didn't realize that he had put his kids' diapers on the bottom of the cart, and it was an honest mistake. When he got home though and he realized that nobody called it out, he then basically shared with everybody, oh, ever since then I've been going back.
I forget on purpose.
Times is, yeah, well, now he's like taking advantage of, he's like, times is tough. Like, and if they're not going to tell me anything, and it was like crazy because not only was he sharing that, but he was also sharing it very openly, like, as if, and nobody like said, hey, like, are you sure you should be doing that? Or not that I would expect them to, but it was a good like precursor to the news that they shared now. Cause obviously it's happening on a massive scale.
Well, yeah, it just goes to show, not even just the organized crime you mentioned, but the opportunists, or those individuals that feel like, you know what, I'm gonna stick it to the establishment. The establishment is making plenty of money off people's backs, such as mine. So I'm gonna get mine. And my thing is we can't lose our society's moral code, because then it's just gonna keep going further and further. Right. Where you're gonna draw the line. You know what I mean? And a little crazy.
Indeed. Well, let's take a break from the financial talk. We'll come back to earnings just so we can switch it up a little bit. So, I know last week, let's get to this one because I know last week we didn't touch on it, and what I believe you and Ricks were gonna talk about that. I guess you and I will talk about this time, right? Mm-hmm. Is relocation in your career. So, do you want to go through maybe some of the notes that Jesse left on for us, and then
relocation, it's a cheat code to move away from your home. At least 50 to 100 miles away is what we're talking about. This helps you get a better understanding to understand other people, communities, etc. Giving you different perspectives. You know what I mean? Like, yes, LA is a big city. There's a lot going on here. But if you venture, I don't know, 2 hours north, 2 hours south, life's a lot different. Values are different, the daily life is different, just for example, today I was in traffic to get home. I was 10 miles away. It took me a good 45 minutes to get home to change and get what I needed to come here. And then I'm a good 25 miles away and it took me over an hour and a half to get here. Damn. And it's like, man, that's what life is in LA.
From where to San Fernando?
So like the south part of NoHo, getting a haircut, you know, fresh haircut. Shout out Los.
Okay.
To home, San Fernando,
Damn.
and then jumping back on the freeway to get down here to you know,
Well, having
Inglewood.
moved before, though, I will tell you there is traffic in other places, but not quite like what you see in LA. Not quite like what you see in LA. Another thing that that Jesse called out was that in his experience moving around for work opportunities, that helps increase your salary. And many times moving for work comes with fringe benefits, relocation bonuses, pay raises, etc. At an early age, he hit 100K a year simply because he moved from location to location for the same company. And with each move came the opportunity to negotiate compensation. So personally, having I moved away from LA, and I lived in the city of Chicago for 6 years. Shout out to Chicago, my home away from home.
The Bears.
That's the Bears. Damn, I wish when you're
You were there now, and they're doing pretty better, a little better.
But what I was sharing was that is exactly what happened for me. Like in the amount of time that I was in Chicago, like the amount that my compensation like multiplied in those 6 years, like was amazing. And then not only that, but it did get me back home, and I got even more money to come back home. So like, I'm not saying that that's the only way to go, or that that's the only reason you should go. Cause you mentioned some good things, right? Like getting to know another neighborhood, getting to know what's different. But just from like an earning standpoint, like most companies, especially like big ones that are across the country or even, internationally, like they will incentivize you to move away for work. So that's something you got to keep in mind.
No, 100%. And I'm someone that hasn't taken advantage of that. I've actually, even when you come to college, like I was going to UCLA and I wasn't going anywhere else, is what I told myself. I was going to go to CISA and forget any other UC and Stanford, wherever else I got accepted, just because I was scared to leave. But being able to reflect and look at those that did take that risk or take that leap and watch their career path catapult a lot faster than, let's say, mine did, it kind of like just shows the company you're willing to do what the company needs. You know what I mean? You're willing to take that risk and prove yourself. And because obviously if they're relocating you, there's a need where they're sending you, and they feel like you're a good fit.
Yeah. Well, what else did he put on there?
I mean, he said, what reasons why people don't do it. Many people are responsible for taking care of their parents, grandparents, siblings, and this may make it more difficult to take advantage of relocation opportunities because, you feel like you have to be there to take care of your family. And, you can't take the whole family sometimes. And sometimes our families don't want us to move away, and they encourage us not to. And what do they know? Due to the fear of the unknown. Therefore, they're holding back at times, and you do kind of get that guilt trip, well, what about us? When are we going to see your kids? Or are you sure, and they start bringing all that negatives. And what I've learned in life, and to be honest, in the last 5 years or since I became a parent, did it really hit me? I've always tried to take care of everyone around me and help all those around me. And that's just the person that I am. But I got to take care of myself, Myra, my children first. You know what I mean? And that wasn't necessarily the perspective that I had before I became a father, and that's something for everyone to reflect on yourselves is, yeah, you want to help those, but if you got to help yourself before you can be helping others.
Yeah. I think, I think that's the other part too. Like when I moved away on my own, and, you do miss a certain amount of important experiences, and depending on your family dynamics, like, those could be moments that, you're not really going to get back. And in some cases, like they also sometimes make those moments more special when you are able to make it back. Right. But, at the same time, you also have to, because let's say you want to do this for your career. Let's say you want to make more money. You also got to be true with yourself and say like, yo, can I actually do this? That's something that I didn't do. And that's why the first couple of years that I was away were a little tougher, because I don't think I reflected on whether or not like I'd be able to like mentally like, lock in and everything. And I'm a stubborn dude. So like, I was going to figure it out like regardless, but I don't know that everybody can do that. Cause there's some times where, you really realize like you're literally on your own, and it separates like, this is a good and bad thing. Cause while you're going through it, it kind of sucks. But on the flip side,
makes you grow.
Yeah, it makes you grow because you're like cornered, but you also really realize like who's down for you or not.
And just from speaking from our experience, when Rennie was gone, there was times that me and the guys got together and, Rennie wasn't there and we missed him. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I personally respected him and looked up to him for for taking on that leap and being that brave to do that. Because, like I said, I wasn't, a lot of us weren't. We all kind of stayed where we were. And when we did get to hang out, when me and you went and flew to San Francisco to hang out with
Yeah, that
Deuce
was fun, man.
and go to a concert, like that's one of my most favorite memories I have
Yeah.
of hanging out. You know what I mean? And that's probably because we hadn't hung out in so long.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like whenever I tell people about like moving away, I think like it's important to say like you really do grow as a person because you've kind of cornered yourself a little bit, right? And at that point, you can either decide to like give into it or give up and come back, or you're gonna go out there and you're gonna figure it out. And I think after that, you get a certain amount of confidence, no matter what the challenge is in front of you.
And I just think LA's a big city, right? And we think, oh, they're so big, but when you're willing to move out and branch out, you really understand how big this country is, how big this world is.
Right.
And it gives you a different perspective. And, you've been able to kind of help educate me with that. Jesse, the leaps and bounds he's done, Jesse literally shout out my boy from New York, came to LA, just him and his woman, like to do that, like the courage to do that.
Yeah.
And then really like he became one of us, you know what I mean? Like that's my guy. And then, hey, he's down to San Diego now because he's got to do what he's got to do. And he's already extended the invitation out to us. Once we get through this crazy holiday season, I'm sure you and I will find time to go down there and hang out with him, because that's our guy.
Hell yeah. And you know who else is going to come with us? Frank.
Oh, Paco, Mr. San Diego random fact professor.
Well, and one last point he called out was that with each relocation comes a new job with either new responsibilities or the same, but with a different team with different challenges. Both of these help us grow as leaders or workers because you have to problem solve different pain points. It really does help you increase your abilities. And I didn't move. I just drive for the job I have now, but very very relevant to that because it's a different team with different challenges, different responsibilities, and as you adapt to that, you start flexing skill sets or muscles that maybe you didn't know you had or you hadn't used in some time.
I also think not to toot LA's horn, but I think we have a lot of educated, very smart people that have, because where we live, like we've moved at a different pace. And when I got to meet people I work with from other parts of the country, no disrespect to them, but I just felt like, man, we're at a different level over here. You know what I mean? And there's some truth to that, compared to somebody living in the Midwest where life's a little bit slower, where they haven't maybe faced the unique complexities and challenges that we faced in the, workload we put.
So kind of career, not, kind of off the relocation topic, career related. So, you've gone from being a leader of people to now being more of a individual contributor kind of partner role. Like, what's that been like?
It's been difficult.
Yeah.
Extremely difficult. Cause I'm about people.
Yeah.
I love teaching, developing, being around people, their energy brings energy to me. And, I've only been in this role for, less than 2 months officially. And it's lonely at times, you know what I mean? And just not having that real opportunity to just connect, collaborate. I just felt like I didn't realize how intricate that was into who I am.
Yeah.
But the one thing, the flip side of it, it's making me get a lot better at things that I wasn't as good at because I was able to delegate things.
Right.
I knew what my weaknesses or what I didn't like to do. And I knew people that excelled at that.
Right.
So I knew how to leverage them to get what I needed. I don't got that now. I got to do it. I got to figure it out. There's a little bit of it, but it's mainly on me. So I do appreciate the challenge because I feel like, to your point, it's making me grow. It's making me look at things differently. But yeah, man, like I used to have lead over 200 people, and know their names, what's going on in their lives, have that connection. They're asking me about me and my fam. I help kids, decide, fill out their college applications. I help one of my workers fix her credit to be able to freaking apply to get a house. You know what I mean? And like, it did nothing for me financially, but it just makes me, that's what makes me happy, is helping others.
Fulfillment.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a good point. And now you, flip side, you went for quite some time being that individual partner, supporter, now leading a big team again. How does that feel?
I think it's to your point, right? Like it's different. There's pros and there's cons. Now the biggest pro is I do believe that my people skills are actually like one of my best qualities, right?
100%.
And I think in that last role, I was able to leverage them in such a way where, you know, having previously led people and then being in that individual contributor role, it allowed me to get better at using influence more so than authority. And I've always been pretty good at that, but here I had no choice because I had no authority. So now coming back to it, like I really did miss, you know, having a team, right? Like being able to, you know, it's at the end of the day, you spend the most amount of time there, so it becomes like your family, right?
Second family. I've always said it.
You know, I'm not quite there yet. I'm not going to pretend.
But you're building it.
I'm building it.
You're that second cousin that we found that just came back to the family. Like, hey, we family, but
it's getting used to that part. But I think a couple of things that come to mind, like the fulfillment part, absolute, right? Like I haven't like most of the, I mean, just to put it out there, like I think like most of the people that I get the most satisfaction as far as influencing are really like the people who are earliest in their careers. And usually I'm not leading them directly. Actually, I'm not. Like I'm probably leading a couple levels up, but having those conversations and then them seeing something in you, especially when you look like them, and that makes them think that they can get there too. Like that's amazing, right? You can't put a price on that. You can't put any value on that. Now, one thing that I know I'm going to miss because I've already been through it once is, you know, when that, you know, quarterly review or that annual review comes in, damn, when I was an individual contributor, I didn't have to write none of those. All I did was write my self-review and I was done. And now, you know, you're on the other side of it. And granted, that's a part of the process and it helps you develop your skills too, but it's very time consuming. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is that, you know, when you're leading people, if you want to lead them correctly, you have to be very careful about the precedents you set. You have to be very careful about the commitments you make for yourself. And in previous parts of my career where I led people, you know, I didn't have a long commute. I didn't have a son. I wasn't married. So I was much more selfless with my time. Like I would just give it up and, you know, just say, all right, yeah, for sure. We'll make this happen. We'll make that happen. And I would, you know, come back and come through on
however long it took.
You know, as much as I want to do that, I can't.
You have to be able to draw the lines.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I'm doing this time. And, you know, I do think that that'll, you know, kind of shape the experience a little differently, you know, in itself. But at the end of the day, I will say that, you know, at least at this point in my life, like I am getting a lot of fulfillment from leading others.
Well, I mean, I think one thing that I respect about your leadership, you know, you over here talking about you're connecting and just having a conversation with people that are 1, 2, 3 levels below you. And that means so much. You know what I mean? Because they're going home like, man, I never talked to a person at that level before. And now he's talking my language. You know what I mean? And on the flip side of it, I'll be honest, when you're that high up or you're leading that many people, you're always on stage. You know, I don't know, let's say the Lakers lost and I was pissed off. And next day I go to work and I guess I wasn't smiling in a good mood. And everybody's like, hey, what's going on with Chris? And then one of them comes to me, hey, are you okay? Yeah, what's going on? The whole store thinks you're mad. What? Well, I don't know. I'm just being me. You know what I mean? So there is that to it too.
I feel you, bro. I feel you, man. Well, that's you know, that's a great conversation there to have. I think shout out to Jesse for bringing up the conversation.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
To take it back to that relocation piece. So at the end of the day, you have to decide if it's something that you're willing to do, but there can be a lot of gold at the end of the rainbow if you're willing to make that move. And not only is it financially, it can be in the way that you grow yourself, your career, all those different things. So why don't we go ahead and take it back to let's go. Should we go back to earnings now?
Yeah, go to earnings. I think earnings will be a good one.
So earnings is going to be good. So first off, I'm going to go into the tech space, and this one just got announced after hours, and that's Nvidia. Nvidia, the chip company, gaming chip company, I believe is their main focus. So actually, they were up after hours on a positive reaction, but I wrote 6.54, but I'm almost positive that's wrong. I think it was a little bit less than that. It was. They were down during the day because there was some negative news that affected the semiconductors. They were up 2.2% after hours. So not a huge positive reaction. But they had been down earlier in the day, 4.54%. So they had sold off a little bit. Now, why did it react positively? The revenue, 152.8 billion, beat the estimate of 147.51, up almost 9% year over year. They did have a positive earnings per share of $1.50, but it was not as good as the estimate, which I believe was going to be 182. They shared that they do see EPS declining in fourth quarter, but they're growing sales by about 3%. One thing that they had in common with a lot of other companies is they talked about how they're affected by the currency fluctuation. So with the dollar being so strong, that's obviously taken value away from some of the other currencies out there. And as a result, that impacts these businesses because now they're dealing against weaker currency, right? They shared that they expect 5.5% growth in 2023 and that they bought back a grand total of about $20 billion worth of stock. So Nvidia also talked about how like their gaming sector was down about 51% compared to last year, and that's been their bread and butter. So that tells you a little bit about what people are spending their time on. You know, last year, 2 years ago, COVID, gaming.
Everyone's just gaming.
Now, with that said, man, I feel like my notes didn't save on this one. I don't think it did, but
No, it didn't.
I was going to mention that the 52-week high on this stock is 346.19. It's at 162 after hours. I believe the analyst target is around like 190, maybe a little over 200. But Nvidia is one that I don't really have a lot of faith in as an investor. I like trading it a little bit sometimes. But Nvidia is one that I think could really sell off. This is, again, not financial advice. I actually think it could go back to like the COVID lows. I think it could go to like $80, $90. And if it did, then I would maybe look at it, potentially as an investment. I think the chip space.
Well, it's led the chip space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And hasn't had too much competition.
Well, at one point, Nvidia, it was a top 10 by market cap company in the world. There was a point where it was like at 700 billion. It was almost it was worth more at one point than Tesla is right now.
Yes. And that's because it was dominating the chip space. Indeed. And what is the U.S. government trying to do?
Well, there can be some limiting there, right?
Yeah, they're trying to limit how much we're able to do business with them and get some other competitors in there.
But you know who just got big into the chip space?
Who?
Warren Buffett.
Where though?
TSM.
Oh, yeah.
But TSM was what drove the market down earlier today, right? So that's an interesting one. Now, it is what it is. You know, I'm not really saying I'm gonna go up against Warren Buffett.
Nah, I wouldn't either. Yeah.
But Warren Buffett is also the famous investor who, as much money as he's made, he'll tell you that he's made mistakes. And one of the mistakes that comes to mind is that at the COVID bottoms, he sold his airline stocks. So he lost a lot of money on it. So you never know. Maybe he's right on it, but I personally would just rather not touch it unless it hits those spots. So Nvidia is one that is worth looking at. Now, next up, we're going to talk about Walmart. So Walmart was up 6.54 on a positive reaction to earnings. I think at some point it was up like 15% yesterday pre-market, finished 7%. I think it ended up down a little bit today. But they shared that their revenue beat the estimate, 152.8 versus 147.51, up 8.7 year over year. EPS was 150, and that was better than the estimate of 132. And they said that they expected 5.5% growth in 2023 versus the prior view of 4.5%. And they're also going to buy back $20 billion worth of stock. So Walmart, it was at 147. I think it's a little bit lower today, probably 144, 145 or something like that. Now, the 52-week high is 159.49. Oh, no, it ended up at 148.60. So the 52-week high was 159.49. It hit it not too long ago, and the average price target is 156. But something that's interesting is there's another company that reported earnings today, and again, we won't name names, but they were down. What did they end up down? Like 10%, 12% today? Like
12, yeah.
And it's Walmart's rival. And I think it tells you a lot about how people's spending habits may be shifting, and maybe not long term. Maybe it's a short term thing. But if you think about its competitor, it's kind of compared to like the pulse of the middle class a little bit more, and in some cases, obviously that's not always the case. And obviously Walmart is known to be a little bit cheaper and whatnot. So you have one that, went up 10, 15% after hours. Before hours. When they announced earnings yesterday, and then the other one went the complete opposite way. So I think that does tell you a little bit about those patterns. What do you think?
No, I definitely agree. I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of the shopping patterns. I think that plays a factor into it, and the dollar being tighter, are people looking more for the deal and being more of a bargain shopper? That could be the case.
It could be. Well, so with Walmart though, I guess what I'll leave you with is that Walmart is one that I do like, but it's very close to its all-time highs, and I do think there's going to be some softness there. But I think if it gets back down to like 118, 105, those are probably some good spots to get back in if you're looking at Walmart. So that's earnings for this week. We'll be back next quarter to talk about earnings at that point, right? So let's go ahead and keep it moving. Should we go into credit?
No, let's do the other one.
Oh, okay. So
yesterday's price. Yeah.
All right. So go ahead.
Yeah. So yesterday's price is not today's price. Actually, shout out Joey Crack. Yesterday's price is not today's price. And in this situation, we're talking about gifts for loved ones, gifts for friends, children, your relatives, even family, friends, whatever the case may be, and pretty much what we're trying to say is stop buying presents for kids' birthdays and start putting money into their savings accounts, college accounts, investment accounts, things of that nature. You know, we celebrate one of our kids' birthdays this past weekend. This is Jesse's personal testimonial. It was interesting to see the looks on people's faces when him and his wife asked them not to buy presents, but rather put money into their daughter's UGMA account. Some people applauded the idea and were on board immediately and said, great, like you saved me a trip from a store. Let me throw that money in there. Tell me where to send it. But then others were shocked by the request. You know what I mean? And I think, people I think are worried about how much they're giving. I know I was the type of person that I wanted to buy a bigger gift that was on sale. I would look for the sale to give the gift, to try to get more value in the gift. But I'm the type of person, I do agree, kid only needs so many toys.
Yeah. I mean, that's my biggest learning being a parent. Like my son has, and I don't know that I bought him more than personally one, maybe two toys. I don't think I've ever really bought him toys. He has more toys than I had my entire childhood. These two.
Yeah.
It's wild. Like he took over an entire room in the house and has nothing but toys. And then he has his room where there's more toys, and then there's more toys in the garage that he doesn't even play with.
No, 100%. I have Maya and CJ at home, and we literally have a playroom.
Yep.
Like it's full of toys. And when other kids come over, they see it and they're just mesmerized by the playroom. And, I feel blessed and fortunate enough that a lot of my friends, family have purchased those toys for my children. Yes, I've bought some too early on, you know what I mean? But I stopped buying them because we don't need anymore, and we're actually having CJ's birthday this weekend, and I was going to put on there, please donate to his accounts instead of giving gifts. He's never had a birthday. He's a COVID baby. So we did like a Zoom birthday. We did like a little family one, but he's never had a birthday. So Myra convinced me, let him have this one. So, he could get whatever the family wants to get. Anyone asks, I'm asking for like clothes, shoes, or I do recommend the account donation if I personally get asked, but I didn't put it on there, but I told her that's it. Going forward, it's going to be on the flyer.
Well, I mean, so, I think, so I prefer the idea too. Like, I mean, as you know, like I'm,
that's how we do it.
When we do it, that's how we do it. Right. Like
we're like, I remember I gave you money for when.
Well, and that's the story I was going to go to. Right. Is that like when baby Rennie was born, or, in his first year, like, he's always gotten money to go towards his accounts. And in some cases we'll designate what we want them to buy. Like shout out to Rick. I was like, yo, when Tesla hits this price, this is what you're going to buy baby Ellie. Right. But for example, like, you guys bought him shares of Apple, and Apple is down, I don't know, 30-40% this year, but he's still up.
He's still up
on those shares. He's still up on those shares 30-40%. And he's 2 years old. He's 2. So like,
and in full transparency, 2 reasons why I did it. One, it was a thank you to you to really encouraging me to start investing. Yeah. And 2, I know who's managing baby Rennie's account.
There you go.
So I know it's in some great hands. You know what I mean? But again, it goes back to, when you and I turned 17, 18 years old, what did we have to our name? You know what I mean? And loans, that's what we had, and we got to change that for our children. And it's not even about the dollar amount, don't worry about that. Yeah. Because we believe in compound interest over here. Right. So any dollar that you put there, that compound interest by the time our children are 18 is going to be a whole lot different. And that's the message that we're trying to get people across. But I really do want to focus on the point that others were turned off and shocked by the request. And that's real. And, why do you think that is, Rennie?
So, so this is interesting, and it's kind of unrelated, but I was having a conversation with somebody who's actually somebody at work, and they don't, this person didn't know much about, investing and long-term generational wealth. And, I pulled out the compound interest calculator, yada, yada, yada. And his whole thing was like, but I got to wait how long? And I'm like, okay, like this is going to go nowhere. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think in some of these cases, right, I think it's a little bit of that immediate gratification. And I think it comes from a good place, right? Like when you buy a child a gift and you see their eyes light up with the gift that you got them, that's a pretty invaluable feeling. It feels amazing, right? So I think that could be it. I think secondly, I think sometimes, people, just feel like they can put their imprint on it. And yes, you're the parent, but no, you can't tell me what I should buy them or what I shouldn't.
That I think there's a lot to that. That first point
Yeah.
you bring up is exactly why didn't put it on the flyer for CJ this time, because I understand this is the first time some of my family or even my friends are going to see that brightness of CJ's eyes, because the gifts they gave him before, per se, they didn't get to physically see it because of COVID, right? So I do believe in that. But I think the second part is really big, is they feel like we're trying to tell them what to do with their money. And that's not the case. You know what I mean? And it's also, I think, just their naiveness to it, and understanding the value. And because they're not doing it, they don't want us to do it.
Yeah. Now, I guess where I was going though is I will say, like, well, I'm 100% behind the sentiment of what we're trying to achieve. I don't know that I personally would go to that. I don't know if it's an extreme, but to that extent. Why? Because I think you can still kind of do both. Now, do I want more toys? No, I don't really want more toys, but I'm probably not. I'm not going to turn back a toy either. Are there other things that I would prefer that he take as gifts? Yeah, with the way he outgrows his clothes, like that's one thing, right? But what I would say is, for me, whenever I've not whenever, but in certain instances, like let's say when I've been invited to a birthday party or whatnot, I will bring a gift, but I'm also going to bring the donate. Well, it's not a donation, the investment that we're making a gift. Like I think that's extremely important too. So
I like that. I think I like both sides.
But I think, and for real talk, like if you think about maybe the age and all that or what they're into, I think you probably look at the toy and stop thinking that the toy has to impress this child who's going to forget about the toy. And
that's the thing.
So give them a little toy to, give
a little one.
Toy,
you give them a shiny box and they're happy.
And then buy them some shares of Apple. Buy them some shares of,
I mean, look,
some Spy shares.
Maya's birthday was the end of April. In her closet, there's at least 10 toys haven't even been opened.
Yeah.
And we said we're giving her one a month.
Hey, do they get doubles?
They get doubles all the time.
Yeah.
And then, you got to try to see about returning it. One thing I am trying to do with my kids, they got to pick 10 toys every 3 months that we're going to donate.
I like that stuff.
You know what I mean? The funny thing is I can't figure out which 10 to do. All right, you want me to start picking? I'll start picking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But my thing is, we need to start changing the mindsets early. We got to accept change. We got to think about things differently. I guarantee you, the Caucasian community has been doing this for quite some time. I think us people of color, where we came from, we just got to think differently, be okay with it. I don't think it should be mandated or mandatory. I think it's more of a suggestion.
Yeah.
The problem is the suggestions that I saw was like a whole freaking essay of trying to say it nicely. I just didn't feel there was a nice way to say it.
Yeah, no, I think there's something to that. But I think, at the end of the day, like, I think we leave it with Jesse's final point, which, how you decide to make this happen is up to you. But the reality is that toys, clothes, and all this other stuff people buy for birthday parties wind up being used for a short period of time. The investment into their future financial stability is something that can literally pay dividends for generations to come. And that word generations is, I think, where it really is important. Like whenever, if that was where I went with that conversation I was referring to, is eventually I was like, bro, this is generational wealth. This is why other people are ahead of us and why we have to start from scratch.
This is how we're going to attempt to catch up. Because we're still way behind in the race.
Yeah, well, we got to shout out Carmen in the chat that she jumped on late, but she was liking this convo.
Nice.
There you go. And then we got Deuce up in the house. Great topic of discussion, fellas. Damn, we got Deuce.
Damn, we got Deuce in here.
We got big bro sign.
Hey, Deuce, how was that that San Francisco trip you and Randy took, man?
Oh, that was legendary.
Man, it was so legendary.
Carmen said, I actually did not ask for any contributions for my daughter as a COVID baby. I think the excitement was for people, but her Ninos opened her stock account to Disney. Now I only put in the 529 account. There you go.
That's what's up. Shout out Carmen. We appreciate that. Continue to give testimonials. We can't be the only one talking about it.
Indeed. And yep, it was a legendary trip. That's right.
Yes, the weekend definitely put on a great show for us. And we had some amazing food, some great bonding time.
Yeah, that was a great time.
I want to do it again.
That was my last wait, was I still technically single? So can I just share real quick? Like
I don't know. I think so.
I don't remember if it was official now. It was quick. It happened quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys met.
Yeah, we had
okay,
we were
for sure you were already talking.
We had actually gone on a date already.
I remember how excited you were, by the way, just when that whole thing happened, and it was dope. I respect, man.
I just can't remember if it was official or not. But either if it wasn't, then that was my last trip as a single.
He's saying it. I didn't want to say it. He's saying it. Allah. Swallow. We probably said that over 1,000 times that weekend, but I mean, it was part of the song.
We'd be canceled today.
Nah, it's a song. It's a song.
We'd be canceled today. Did we get to everything?
We do have the credit top, but I did want to talk about something.
Okay, go ahead.
You see what's going on with Taylor Swift?
Oh wait, something happened. What happened? That she's going on tour and her
bro.
So I don't know.
Okay, so I think this is crazy.
Uh-huh.
I mean, dope crazy. So Taylor Swift hasn't had a concert tour or even a concert for 4 or 5 years now.
Okay,
right? And I knew Taylor Swift was a big thing, right? I don't think I realized how big she is. So she announced, "Hey, I'm going to do a concert tour. I'm going to sell tickets." And in order to have an opportunity to get tickets, there's been different ways to do it. So you either had to be a Taylor Swift specific fan. I forgot what crazy name they used to describe that. Or you had to have a specific credit card. So a credit card was Capital One. So when Capital One announced you'll have early access to attempt to buy tickets, Capital One's applications went up 200+%.
Everybody applied.
They all applied for the cards, right? So I saw that. That was a couple weeks ago, because it didn't guarantee tickets, but it put you in the room.
Yep.
Right? So, okay, yeah, it's marketing, pretty genius marketing. Cool, Taylor Swift, big thing. Well, tickets went on sale yesterday, right? For the fans, the people that were like special fans, right? Crashed the site in minutes, right? Tickets, all these people trying to get it, waiting hours in waiting room, didn't get them. Today, Capital One did it, crashed the site, right? You look at what are the two, Ticketmaster, and what's the other big
Live Nation?
Not Live Nation, the another one. The two big ticket event sellers.
The other one is, okay.
I don't remember at the moment. They broke up. Taylor Swift caused them to break up, bro.
The other ticket company,
Ticketmaster, and the other company aren't messing with each other now.
It's not Live Nation.
It might be Live Nation. I don't know exactly, but this all transpired within 24 hours.
Wow, that's wild, man.
Not only that, you look online right now. I am not kidding. I'm gonna show you, Rennie. People that bought the tickets are already trying to resell them, right?
It was Live Nation.
Live Nation. They're already trying to resell the tickets. Now, the tickets, anywhere from $300 to a couple $1,000 was what the tickets were at, right? How much you think resale value is going right now? Good seats, really good seats.
Really good seats, like 100s, $2,000.
What's that say, Ready?
Shut up.
$94,000. Now, I'm not saying it's going to sell for $94,000. Right. I guarantee you one of these tickets is going to sell for $50K.
That's crazy.
$50K.
Did you see her live?
No, I didn't get to it. No, I wasn't there yet.
So I guess
I wasn't as cool as you,
Rennie. I had a $50,000 experience. I saw her trip and fall. I don't remember if she fell. She tripped and fell on stage. That's wild.
Yeah, and she laughed about it, I heard, which I respect.
Oh yeah, she cleaned it up nice. Like,
you know what I mean?
Going, so
but like this is for the Vegas tour. They got it on sale right now. Level 100, $94,000. Now, obviously, that sounds pretty inflated. But if it's 94 inflated now, I guarantee you it's gonna go for 40, 50K.
Hey, one thing that nobody thought they would hear today, Dogra asking me, "Yo, did you find out what happened with Taylor Swift?"
Hey, my niece got 3 tickets.
Oh yeah.
I said, "You're gonna flip them?" No, I want to go see her. I said, I showed her this picture. You're gonna flip them? I mean, I'm not saying she's gonna make that much on it, but my gosh.
Hey.
You know what I mean? And I looked a little bit more into Taylor Swift. One thing that really also was cool, not a couple years ago, she picked 12 of her fans somehow through a contest and then flew them to her home, and she physically cooked them dinner and baked cookies.
Damn.
I'm like, damn. But I will say, I thought some other artists were the biggest artists in America.
That's
T Swift told me she the real deal.
Yeah. Well, look, Deuce. She makes great music.
Oh, Carmen did say it's Live Nation. Yeah, see, Carmen knows what I'm talking about.
Carmen's on it.
But to make Live Nation and ticket, you know why they broke up though?
Why?
because they messed up with, I'm assuming, how many tickets each had.
Uh-huh.
And the demand happened so much, they're going to have to be giving refunds because they ain't got enough tickets for what they sold.
Damn. You know, one thing remember, you know how we talked about all the financial mistakes we made?
Mhm.
One mistake I made is not getting back on the ticket resale business in 2021. I took 2020 off because obviously there was no point in it.
Yeah, if you would have got them Bad Bunny tickets.
Oh my god. And then,
What's the old school Mexican band? I sent wifey to it. Oh man.
but you know, I don't remember if I said it on the show or not, but Bad Bunny a few years back, I had tickets for him New Year's Eve down at the observatory in Santa Ana. And I can't remember the exact amount. It wasn't like huge, but I paid whatever I paid. I think I like tripled or quadrupled my money, but it's nothing compared to what people would pay like for Bad Bunny.
Oh, disgusting.
At a big venue.
Not Grupo Firme, Los Bukis. Grupo Firme sells some nice tickets too, though. But Los Bukis, man, that one right there. We got 4 tickets for wifey, her mom, her sister, and her aunt. And I was like, hey, man, let's resell them. And her mom gave me that look like, oh, I want to go. All right, never mind. I'm sorry.
So
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
If we go back to the question, so why do people not want to give money to their kids as gifts? There's your answer right there. All
exactly.
Right. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of the show.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So thank you all for rocking with us. You know, again, as a reminder, we'll be going on a hiatus after this week. Hopefully we'll be back early next year. You know, we'd like to thank y'all for rocking with us for 35 episodes.
Man, 35. It's gone by so quick.
It takes a lot to do this. So shout out to everybody else that's on this. You know,
yeah, we
journey
appreciate everybody
news,
in the chat. You know, you guys keeping it live and entertaining for us as well. We know we'll continue to share content throughout our social media, so feel free to continue to check us out there. But yeah, it's been fun, and look out for us next year. We're gonna come out with some more energy, switch up things a little bit, you know, figure out how to get Jesse on the show more now that he's in a whole nother city, but we're gonna make it happen.
We'll figure it out.
He's been growing that beard for all of you, so don't worry.
That's right. Well, thank you, Carmen, giving us a shout out.
Yes, thank you very much.
Weekly knowledge and laughs, but you know, keep staying on the page. We'll keep dropping some gems there, and
definitely get some buy-in prices from Rennie.
That's right. All right. Well, y'all take care, and we'll see you soon.
Peace everybody.